Hey everybody, this is my wife's tank. It's a 20-gallon standard size, and it is in need of some maintenance, as you can tell. This is one of those fish tanks that's out of sight, out of mind. It's in my wife's room. I do all the maintenance and everything for it, but I do sort of keep it up for my wife to enjoy. And I never really think about it until she kind of reminds me that the tank needs some work. And of course, it generally looks like this by the time she reminds me and I think about it. So, going to do some simple maintenance today. Wipe the glass down. That's very easy to do. That stuff's not stubborn or difficult to get off. And then we're going to go ahead and change the filter out. Do about a 5-gallon water change. And I'm going to look at some of these plants we got over here on the left. I'm not sure if they have come detached and unrooted or what's going on, but they're not supposed to be floating like that. I'm not really sure why it's up in the water like that. So we'll get in there and check that out. So not necessarily a whole lot of need for before part. You get the idea. It's dirty, the water's low, needs a filter change, etc. So sit tight, give me a minute, and we'll get on with the water change. And there's your after. So it makes a huge difference just wiping down the glass. But of course I did a 5-gallon water change. There's not very much woodwork in this tank. In fact, there's only one little piece that I can see. And that is right in the front underneath the angelfish there. You can see it's got that Java moss growing all over it. That is actually a piece of woodwork. So the plant roots do contribute to tannins in the tank, but this tank does not really develop a lot in the way of that tea-stained color over time. It tends to stay pretty clear. The Java fern on the left there that was so big and it looked like it had come detached from the rock had not. It is just that the last time I was in here and did some sort of major plant reconstruction, I pulled a huge chunk of Java fern. It had crawled all the way across these top rocks here, across the front, and I reduced it down to just one chunk that I basically sort of sandwiched between two rocks just to hold it in place so that it would continue growing there and attach. And it's probably beginning to attach to it. But what we saw was basically just the rhizome was growing this way, and then the fronds were sort of coming off that way, and it was just sort of growing up and in the wrong direction. So I'm not really sure if that's going to be an ongoing thing or not. I broke it off, so hopefully it will sort of branch out and grow in a different direction from there. Of course, in my luck, it'll grow towards the back of the tank instead of the front, but we'll deal with that whenever it happens. Otherwise, nothing really to talk about. I didn't really do anything when I was in there other than what I said. I wiped down the glass and did a filter change. I honestly didn't really even look at the fish or pay much attention to what was going on while I was in there just because I wanted to get it done. It's getting kind of late in the day, and I knew we were going to have to take some time to let the tank settle down after it was all said and done. So, the Java moss in this tank is actually starting to get a little out of control again. You can kind of see it growing on the back glass there. That's coming a full 2 inches probably off the front glass or off the black glass towards us. So that is definitely a bunch of Java moss in there that needs to come out. That will eventually make its way down into my grow out tanks or whatever. And then of course, like I said, I've got the Java moss that's growing on this wood down here, and it's growing all over that woodwork back there. I really think I need to add to this tank. I need to get in there and do a little bit of internal tank maintenance. I need to get a pleco of some sort, maybe a rubber lip, maybe a clown pleco, but I need to get something in there that's going to be an off-flux grazing type fish and sort of scrape and scour everything. This tank does not look very good when it comes to that sort of stuff. The growth is all over everything. Now, I could treat this tank with ChemiClean and it would kill all that stuff off and it would clean this tank right up, but I don't see any point in doing that if I can just get a fish that's going to be in there and is going to do that, just natural behavior. It's going to get the tank cleaned up. I'm getting a little distracted because I'm looking for Swimmy, my emerald catfish, Cory cat. Probably now my oldest fish that I've got. She's from way back in my early days when I first started keeping fish. And I know at some point I'm going to lose her, but she's probably about 7 years old now. And I don't see her. I do see what looks like the little tail fin of a fish sticking out right there. And I don't know if that's her or not. And if it is her, I don't know if she's okay or if that's just her hiding behind that piece of moss. So I'm going to stick my hand in here, give her a little nudge and see if she doesn't move. If that's not her. Yep, that's her. She's fine. She swam right onto the back of the tank. So she's got like a little crooked back and a little funny shaped tail. Again, one of the first few fish we bought, we didn't really know what we were even buying. She was just recommended. You know, we asked the person at the PetSmart, you know, we wanted a little bottom feeding type fish that would help keep the bottom of the tank clean. And they told us these Cory cats are great little catfish. And I like catfish, and they, you know, didn't know much about them, but I think catfish are cool, so why not? And so she was one of the first few fish I ever brought home. And somehow she survived all my very, very early fish keeping days and disasters and whatnot. And she's still with us. So, you know, can't last forever. I know Cory's can live for quite a long time. But again, she's probably not the best stock, considering, you know, she was sort of deformed. And, you know, where I got her probably came from some fish farm, you know, being supplied to the big chain pet stores or whatever. They're not necessarily the highest quality breeders all the time. So I don't know. But she's still with us, and she's still swimming around in there. So that makes me happy. I was starting to get a little worried there that she wasn't with us anymore, but she is. So that's about it. That's all I can think of. Don't forget, of course, I do sell these plants that I keep mentioning, and they, you know, I say they're going to go in my grow out tanks. That's what they're growing out for. They're growing out for sale. They're not growing out to go back in any of my tanks. My tanks are where the plants come from, not where they're going to. So check my email down below if you're interested. I've got the Java moss, I've got Java fern, I've got temple plant right now. I've usually got little bits of anubias or something. I've always got a little bit of something around somewhere. So hit me up if you're looking for aquatic plants. So in the meantime, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Don't forget, this one here is my wife's tank. We'll see you real soon in the next one.